All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Kick It Podcast brought to you by Kick It Labs. Of course, we are broadcasting this live from the beautiful city of Oceanside. My name is Victor V, your co-host of the night, joined by my brothers Bruce,
Yo.
Mr. Louis Lope, and of course we got the producer in the back, Piccolo. And for this episode, we do have a returning guest, someone pretty dear and special here to the podcast and also to the city of Oceanside. You guys might see her already on camera through the YouTube. I'm talking about first female mayor, first Latina mayor, Ms. Esther Sanchez, kicking it with us tonight.
Hey, good night. Good evening. Excuse me. Not yet, but yeah.
And that's it for today, y'all.
No.
Whatever time zone you're listening into.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Esther.
Thank you so much. It's been 4 years.
About 4 years.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Right before you got sworn into office.
Yeah. And I was like, wow, these guys really, really are cool. And they're reaching out to our youth and, in a way that is relates, so significant.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you for
No,
coming
thank you.
on. And let me apologize right off the bat for last time we had you. Last time we had you on the podcast, I called you by the wrong last name.
Oh, I don't even remember that.
Okay, good. Well, then you keep not remembering that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
It's been haunting Louis for
yeah,
years.
no.
No.
Yeah, I told my friend that we were
4 of them? No.
once every year.
Plus, it was like the COVID season, so we're all wearing face
masks.
masks.
Yeah.
Oh, but I could see it in their eyes, and then in your eyes, you're like, it's Sanchez.
No.
That's crazy. Now, studies even show like masks don't even really help to prevent it. Some studies.
You
Not
had
all
to
studies.
have the K95 or KN95. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But we're through it. A lot of families didn't do well through it, and each of the larger cities were able to get money to recover. It was called ARPA, American Recovery Act. And our city got $32 million and some change. And we went door to door to talk to folks and see, especially like the east side, but several neighborhoods, to see, what can we do to help you get through this? Because some of them lost their jobs and went through their savings really fast, right? And then the kids they couldn't go out or anything, and everybody was afraid.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, some of them actually lost loved ones, and you had to have a funeral, but it was really hard to have a funeral, and no money. So we went knocking on doors, and we found out people wanted childcare and food and some money for funerals that actually qualified, and to be retrained so that they can go out and get another job, maybe pay more to help pay the rent, because then the rents went really high. And our city council said zero. I was the only one that was really, and the guy who's running against me, he's one of the guys who said zero. So, it's really important to represent on the council, because when you represent, you know what's going on out there.
Mm-hmm.
And you go, if you knock on a few doors, talk to people, you know what's happening. And that's what hopefully inspires everybody. It certainly inspires me to go out there and find out what can we do, because this is our city, this is our community. So that's why I'm running for re-election. I'm running for another 4 years. I just had my first, I'm in the last year of my first term. And there's so much that still needs to be done. And you all know that, homeless, affordable housing. We just really need to continue to work.
And before we go any further, I just want to let everybody know that's watching us. Make sure you guys tune in. Make sure you guys if you guys have some questions, write them down.
Yeah.
We'll read them out here for the mayor. That's part of the reason why we're doing this, is to give you guys an insight and a little bit of a way to access, these candidates and these city councilmen, these local politicians. What were some of the ways, aside from, saying you didn't have much backup from city council, what were some of the ways that you were able to help some of these families during COVID?
Yeah, so I obviously the council majority for the first 2 years of the 4 years was, 4-1 basically. But it doesn't just, not everything happens on the council. You actually can work because it's considered a strong city manager form of government. So it's actually the city, the manager, the city manager who operates the city or is in charge of the city. And so there's a lot that you can do even through there, like through the housing department, or even through planning and things like that. So that's how I was able to get a lot done, is through that. And it was hard because they made it really clear they didn't want to work with me, and it was like I didn't understand it, right? So walking into the position, my opponent, his name is Ryan Keim. They had appointed him as deputy mayor, and it's really the mayor who brings forward the name, and it's like a rotation. It's more like a ceremonial title, It doesn't really. All you do is basically, if the mayor's not available to run the meeting, that's what they do. They take over the meeting. And in 4 years, I was only out once. Okay, one day.
That's a lot of meetings.
Yeah, it's a lot of meetings.
Yeah.
And what he did, because I had COVID, so I had to stay home or away from people, let's just say. And he continued everything to the following meeting. So it wasn't much of a help, right, running the meeting. But he has not wanted to give up the title. I've tried to pass it on to everybody else, and he wouldn't let me. I guess he told them, "No, I want to have the title, right?" But what's a title? It's it doesn't mean anything, right? So, but I did do my best to work with everybody I never lost my cool, and thought, well, we're going to vote the way we're going to vote. I can certainly be passionate about not being able to get any money, any services to our communities that were really suffering. I can certainly be passionate about that and talk about that, and try to get someone to second my motion to put some money into the community, because it was $32 million. Of course, we invested in our businesses. We needed to get them back on their feet. But they spent almost the rest of it on infrastructure because the city had been really bad about fixing, buildings and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, oh my gosh, it was like a gift to get so much money to put it all in infrastructure. So, but as a community, and I'm saying this, when you have, like, we've got Jimmy Figueroa running, right? When you have 3 people on the council that really care about the community, that's when you can get a lot more done. That's when that's and so I'm really this coming election is so important. It's so critical. I mean, you guys all are registered to vote, right?
Oh, yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
Yeah, yeah. So you're gonna vote, and so we've got Jimmy Figueroa running in District 3, and he's been walking for a while now, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and then we've got Amber Kay in District 4. And she's another person who really cares about the community. But if we can really and then we've got Eric Joyce, who's on the council. He's not up for election till 2026.
Yep. Eric Joyce from District 1.
Yeah, District 1, yeah.
Why is he not up for re-election?
Because he's on a different cycle.
Oh, okay.
So he ran in 2022,
Okay.
4 years, 2026.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you don't elect all the city councilmen at the same time?
No,
Oh, interesting.
they're staggered, yeah.
Oh, because it's 4 city councilmen, right? Plus the mayor, that's the total of 5
That's
votes.
5, yeah.
At least in the city of Oceanside. Because when we went to Vista, it was a little bit different. I can't remember exactly how it works over there, but I just know it was completely different right off the jump.
Right.
Well,
Oh,
that's
man.
interesting because they have the same thing.
Really?
But,
Okay.
But the way they run it is probably differently.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Talking about reinvesting into the infrastructure, what is
Yeah.
your opinion on Sandag? I know a lot of city officials here in North County feel that Sandag doesn't really share the funds or give enough relief
Yeah.
funds over for own infrastructure. For an example, when the freeway went down over here on the 78,
Yeah.
yeah, and that was because of the lack of maintenance on the infrastructure itself. So what's your opinion on Sandag altogether?
I think that I've been on the council for a while, right? And and then even before that, I knew the council members in San Diego, and I knew I was really involved with La Raza lawyers and trying to change policies to make them better for the community. And I was working as a deputy public defender, so I got to know a lot of people that way. But if you don't want to work with others, which is what has been happening in Oceanside, then you're never going to get anything. And the first thing that Kime was on Sandag. He appointed himself to Sandag, which I kept saying, listen, give me a chance. Just give me a year. Give me a year. I can get money to our city. I can get money to the North County.
Yeah.
Because I work really well with everybody. I don't care what party they are. And the first thing he did was walk out.
Really?
Walk out of Sandag. He didn't like something, so he walked out with a couple of other people. And I was like, wow, that's a great way of working with others, right? I ended up getting on the Transportation Committee of Sandag, and I got people to work with me. And it didn't matter what party. I got folks to see that, look, North County's not getting its fair share. I mean, we're all paying taxes into the Sandag.
Right.
We need to have our fair share. So, of course, transportation had to do with safe routes to school, and getting maybe mini, micro transit, doing that, like more like smaller buses and things like that, or even like the circuit. The circuit?
Yeah, the circuit in which you download the app, and the first few months it was free,
And
then,
now it's $3.
which is not so bad too, especially if you're around the downtown area enjoying yourself, and you're partaking in some alcohol. I mean, not me, but everyone else around there, partaking.
Allegedly.
3 years and counting.
Yeah, that's right.
But that was something I was able to do. Is bring it back. Visit Oceanside paid into it. The city did, so it wasn't such a burden. But there's also another pilot project they want to do in Oceanside, so that was really positive, right?
Pilot project?
So a pilot project to do yet another kind of like a micro transit, a lot like Circuit, but more on the east. And so they were talking about doing that for, the arena just had its first event, and we should have been all along. We should have been working on a shuttle.
That traffic was crazy on that first day. I was on my way to the studio.
Well, I mean, you got an Olympic gold medalist out there, so
Right.
Of course. I heard tickets were sold out, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I asked the city manager, hey, you could just, please make sure you have a shuttle, because that hill, walking up the hill from the Sprinter, not too many people can do it. Maybe an e-bike, But I said, hey, you should start announcing in August, because the events are going to start in September, and they didn't do it.
Yeah.
Right? They didn't do it. So we've got to, we do have Sandag looking into, and that's through NCTD, looking to do another pilot project for the city. Pilot means it's for a short period of time, like a year, or maybe 2 years, to see how it works. Yeah. But someone's going to have to pay for that. And that's where we can get, our Sandag reps to try to get funds, right, from Sandag to pay for some of these things, or NCTD. But we definitely need shuttles.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, especially with the new Front Wave Arena just opening up. I agree. I think just being able to have better transportation for people who want to attend these events and not be in so much danger just trying to cross through Oceanside Boulevard. But I'm gonna ask a quick dummy question. I'm not sure if the people out there that are tuning in might know this, but what are the differences and responsibilities between Sandag and Caltrans?
So Caltrans is California, so that's a state. And Caltrans basically builds all the highways, right? And in order to build highways, you also have to study all the possible impacts. Like say you want to build a wider highway. Then that you might have to take out a bunch of homes to do it, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to have to pay for that plus the impacts, right? Nowadays, no one wants to do that now, because it's really about now public transportation, trying to figure out how to best get people who are especially a lot of people going the same place at the same time. That's when public transportation works. But Caltrans, for example, they did the widening over here on 5. They were going to be looking at paying for the restoration of the Buena Vista Lagoon, but it took little while longer to finish the environmental studies for it. So we didn't get those dollars. Somebody else got those dollars. And I'm
Damn,
talking
bummer.
millions of dollars, right? So, but our lagoon is, all the engineering studies are practically done. So you'll be shovel ready, and we're hoping Caltrans will pick it up as a public project, public works project. And it's going to cost at least $50 million, probably more, 75 million
Wow.
to fix the. But then, wouldn't it be nice not to see those to finally see the water and not see that the all the fish just choked up? I don't even know if there's even fish left in the Buena Vista Lagoon.
That's a good point.
Yeah, yeah. But Sandag can really do a lot for the North County, and the way to do that is to work with others, and sometimes you have to compromise, but it's the idea of finally getting money to North County and Oceanside especially.
Yeah, because I feel like, at least with the Sundag, it usually kind of stops like right around Sorrento Valley. It doesn't even make it past Del Mar.
Exactly. I mean, I'd love to see a trolley right down the middle of Mission or Coast Highway. Wouldn't that be cool? You just hop on board, if you want to go out and you want to go to South O, or you want to, I think I want to go to the harbor. You can just catch that trolley. I don't even think by 2050 we'll be, having something like that, but who knows? I mean, I think after Saturday we had the Earn Our Vote, right? And you guys were, there too.
We're
right?
on site doing many interviews.
Yeah.
Yeah, the youth is ready.
The youth is ready.
I mean, by
They
2050, I
rocked
think,
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not even by 2050, man.
I mean, we're already almost 2025. So in 25 years, these 17-year-olds, they're going to be, up there in a good,
Leading.
solid position.
Yeah.
The way I like to look at it is from that experience that we all learned from COVID, when we were really put in the danger. How can I say this?
Our lives were at risk.
Yep, the
Yeah.
whole world was at that
Yeah.
point. And what policies were put in place to protect you? What policies were put in place to help you survive? And who was representing you while we're all put on the shelves when we couldn't do anything? These are the important things that we need to look into in the future. And that's where I think everybody was at a standstill point of time, and they went ahead and just searched up everything, because all you got to do is look up. So a bunch of people went ahead and looked into whatever subjects they went into, and I think that's where the youth went ahead and started getting a glimpse of, this is important. We need to go ahead and start looking into who's actually watching for our best interest, as you should.
Yeah, when you have life-threatening situations,
There you go.
yeah, you start to realize what's a priority. I know some of the kids lost family members, maybe not in their immediate family, but like their grandma or their grandpa, which in our culture is, they're folks that really we're very close to.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that was a really, really tough time. I know a lot of these kids probably are scarred by what happened, but they know priority-wise this was serious, and they know that every day matters, right?
Yep, every day does matter. Dang, Esther, you really came onto the responsibility right after COVID.
Yeah.
So not only were you the first Latina mayor, you also came right after COVID, like the first mayor. That's insane.
I made sure that we could get the shots near where because they had put it in the Live Well Center all the way at El Corazon. Who was going to go over there? So I got the county to move it. The county board of supervisor Desmond to move it to Mission, and so people were walking, from the east side, from Crown Heights, to get their shots, right, the vaccines, because we all. There's one thing. I mean, what's a vaccine, right? I mean, it doesn't. It only hurts a little bit, but and then at least then you have a little bit of peace of mind that okay, I've got half a chance or maybe even more of surviving this. and trying to figure out how we're going to make it forward. Like, how are we going to, what jobs are there going to be out there still? I know that the restaurants lost a lot of people as well. So like Anita's used to be open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and now they're
Yep.
open for dinner. Great place still, right? But a lot of people had to make, a lot of the businesses had to make changes to survive.
Yeah, it certainly did. COVID did change a whole lot of lifestyles. I do want to go ahead and switch up to a different topic in mind. I do want to
Yeah.
go ahead and bring up an experience that we had all in Oceanside. And this is going to relate because the Supreme Court just passed throughout this whole country that you can go ahead and enforce not having homeless camps.
Yeah.
We even had our own experience over here right off of Oceanside Boulevard, right there out by Crouch. Now, Esther, you want to go ahead and tell the people how that experience was and also the solutions you guys came with?
So, there was before, as you said, the Supreme Court ruled, there was this, which was Grant Pass. That case name is Grant Pass. Before the Ninth Circuit decided, hey, having not having a place to sleep, right? Not being able to sleep a whole 8 hours, or having to move every hour or something like that, or maybe every 30 minutes,
Right.
is cruel and unusual punishment. That's what that case had said. And so basically that case said, before you can even contact them or arrest them or whatever, because people were being arrested, homeless folks were being arrested for, loitering, or you have to offer them some kind of shelter. So that was a new thing that happened during COVID, right?
Yeah.
And we're like trying to figure out, well, how are we going to deal with this? Because the county was telling us, as to the encampments, let's say like around the river and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The Santa Maria River. They said don't move anybody.
Really?
Yeah, don't move anybody because it might spread COVID.
Oh.
And we're like, what? So that was a county order, and here in Oceanside we had to obey the county order.
Yeah.
So you had to offer them some kind of shelter before you can ask people to move, right? And so what we did was got 30 hotel vouchers, motel vouchers. And so we were asking people, okay, we're offering you shelter. And if they said no, then you could, ask them to leave. Say, okay, we're going to give you notice, you're leaving. And take your things, because whatever you leave behind, you must, it's probably trash. So we'll just go ahead and take it out, right?
Yeah, basically forfeit it.
Yeah.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
a sense.
So, finally, like you said, and then we got a shelter, right? So we
Yep.
got a shelter. So we stopped doing the voucher thing, and the shelter is 50 bed, and we had two proposals. One was to call it basically a navigation center instead of a shelter, more of a navigation center, and have people stay 2-3 weeks, and that was rescue mission. And the other one was Interfaith, who has been working with homeless, and in fact has programs with the city of Oceanside. And that was the one that was recommended by the staff, the city staff. And that one said, okay, we're going to keep people for up to 180 days.
There you go.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
180 days. And then that would work really closely with that person and try to get them to the next, like some kind of transition housing. You don't want to stay forever in a shelter. I
Yeah.
don't care what San Diego says, but
Yeah, well, the
you don't
goal
wanna
is
do
to
that.
get them better situated
Yes.
and reassimilate
Stabilize.
them in society.
Exactly. Stabilize their situation. A lot of folks, if they've lived out, in the elements, they're used to it. They become used to it.
Yeah.
And almost antisocial, right? Unless they're close to somebody who's helping them
Yeah.
keep a watch, on their stuff when they have to leave or go to the bathroom or something, So what I had hoped is that we would get interfaith. So I lost that vote. But I thought, hey, maybe this will work too, because I've never thought of a navigation center, and maybe they have connections, and maybe they can get people to move after 2-3 weeks. Maybe they can find some kind of shelter, like a quasi-permanent shelter.
Yeah.
I think it's been kind of a revolving door. I mean, it's tough because you have to have the whole gamut. You have to have a transitional housing, and then you have to have affordable housing.
Yep.
That includes places for people who have recently been homeless or are homeless. We just opened up an affordable housing project on Greenbrier, the Greenbrier Village.
Oh yeah, I saw that building.
Yeah.
It's
Nice.
like right
And it
behind the Taco Bell, right?
Looks wonderful, yeah, and it's wraparound services. That means that they're on site. They have people, social workers, whatever, helping them to, helping the residents to get to the next steps of, being comfortable in there. And one new resident said, "Hey, I'm so happy. I'm in my forever home now, my forever home." I mean, I got goosebumps when she said that, right? So yeah, the hard part is this. You asked about the Supreme Court case.
Yeah.
I understand the police department wants to be able, if it's in the middle of the night and somebody is yelling and screaming, and they want to be able to arrest them and not have to call the shelter. They want to be able to arrest them or contact them and get them to move. They want to be able to do that, right? Tell someone not even offer them any kind of shelter. But what's going to happen right now? The sheriff's not even letting anybody be taken at the hospital. I mean, the hospital, the jail. They're not admitting anybody at the jail. They're if you go, they may not even book them and then release them, because what are they going to be arrested for? Screaming and yelling.
The most loitering. Then that's like that's
And they
just a
don't just
fine
they
right
give a
there.
ticket and then they tear it up, right?
Yep, and then that even like backs up our courthouses as well from all the fines that now we got to keep track of when we could be doing other things.
So that's a balance. I don't know. I mean, I think it's criminalizing homelessness is not the right answer.
I agree.
We have to figure out. For me, I think we have to figure out a middle ground that is humane. I think we have to really consider maybe changing our model, tweaking it so that maybe people stay longer.
Yeah. Well,
And hopefully from there move on to something a little more permanent.
what's your opinion about safe parking spaces? Like people that are not housed, that they're able to park their vehicles in a safe area for a period of night, and there's on-site security, and they go ahead and monitor. And it's the same thing too. They either get 30 days or up to 180 days, and they're provided resources.
So pretty much there is a program that's on its way to Oceanside. They've picked the place where it would be. It's near the Hobie Cat.
Okay.
And I think there's, I thought it was 25, but it sounds like it's even higher, maybe 40 spaces. And the city has found an operator. So that the city was looking for an operator. So they put out an RFP, a request for proposal. Hey, who out there wants to run this? We have X amount of money. And of course, you have to have porta potties, and maybe a mobile shower, security for sure, maybe lighting. So we're finally going to get there.
Nice, because I know that Encinitas and Vista actually initiated theirs as well.
Yeah, the mayor and Encinitas told me, ours is free. We don't have to pay $1, right? Ours,
really?
yes. So ours is not going to be that lucky, right? We're going to have to pay for it, but it's important. It's we need people to be safe.
Yeah, that's true.
Less calls to 911.
Well, Louis did ask the question. Why is that, Esther?
Yeah, why is it that Encinitas is getting it for free and there's a chance that we won't?
Because that nonprofit decided to offer and just do it. That farm, right? It's at a farm, and they said, yeah. I was like, well, what did you have to do to get something for free? Because we never get anything for free, right?
Yeah.
And you always wonder, well, nothing's really free.
Yeah.
There's a hitch somewhere.
All the time.
So you're saying that there's still a chance or an opportunity for a nonprofit to still get involved.
I
Correct?
think the city has chosen someone.
Okay.
But if not, I'll let you know. Yeah,
right, yeah.
They did put out a request for proposal, and there were no bites at all.
None.
No, and that
Oof.
was about maybe 6 months ago. But I think they haven't stopped looking for a nonprofit to, partner with to run it.
Yeah, well, I was happy to hear about that shelter opening up. It's right there where the old Ocean Shores used to be
Ocean
at.
Shores,
Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah, I
did. I never attended personally, but I had a bunch of my friends go to that
Yeah.
school. Yeah.
I had some friends that went for my class, class of 74. That's my OHS. We are the best class at 74. And, back then, some of the girls would get pregnant, and that's where they'd have to go, right? It's like, don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even up to my class, it was still the same deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's different. Now we all understand the consequences, and, it's tough. But one of our friends and I knew her since kindergarten, right? And but she loved that little baby. Wow, it's really cool.
That's the one thing
Yeah.
I've seen develop in the education system is the more independent studies institutions that you guys implanted in the city as well, which have grown over a decade now, which I think it's a good direction because now look, after COVID, like these kids they have laptops now to do their homework on. Ain't no pencils and papers no more. What do you think about that, Esther? About the whole,
Well, we're doing through the sci-fi. We're doing like the fiber. We're doing the whole city, and that's being offered to us for free. They're really putting that through the whole city, the fiber, for that. And of course, the kick is going to be which provider you're going to pick. Are you going to pick them or somebody else? But yeah, that's true. I know that a lot of the women that speak Spanish only, they got into it. They figured out how to do Zoom, so that was pretty cool. It wasn't just the youth, because it was very isolating. So it was like, well, gosh, how am I going to talk to somebody? I want to see somebody, not just hear them, right?
Right.
Yeah, on the phone.
We were talking a little bit about the housing. One of the things I've seen a lot of locals be very conflicted about is the rise in like new development going on.
Yes.
What is your take on that?
I think we have to put as many guardrails out there as possible. I know the state governor just signed a few bills, even making it worse for us. But I do feel that at some point the pendulum's going to swing the other way. I know that a lot of people are really upset about it. What we're going to have to do is do a constitutional amendment, right? And say local control. Because they say, oh, this is really aimed for the cities that like in higher end neighborhoods, that they don't want to do anything in their neighborhoods. Oceanside has never really said no to development, right? It just had to fit Oceanside. It had to fit the character. It couldn't be too high or too dense, because if you make it too dense, who's going to want to live there for a long time?
Right.
Yeah. 300 square feet. That's really small. Yeah. So the one that's being built, where the reptile store is down on
Yeah.
The
Alpha
little parking
Mission.
structure, right?
the reptile shop of, is it,
It's by St. Mary's.
Seagate?
yeah.
Right? Yeah, over by across the street from Bank of America, I think.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah.
about. And there's like a little parking space that's
Yes.
available.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes,
okay.
yeah. So they want to do like 8 stories. I forget how many units, a high number of units, no parking. And I think that, it passed 300 square feet. That, to me, that's almost unlivable, right? Who wants to be in a really small space and then pay through the nose for a really small place? So what they did, they actually competed for state dollars. They got something like, I want to say $49 million.
Rough estimate,
Yeah, rough estimate. Some of it to share with NCTD, but so that they can do 100% affordable, right? Or close to it. I'm sorry. It's more like 85% affordable. I think it's 177, something like that. 177 units. And I'm wondering who's going to want to live there. You pay, I can't imagine. I don't think it came with vouchers, so that means it's you're going to have to pay the whole amount, even
The move-in cost, basically.
Wow.
with vouchers you only pay a certain percentage of the rent, and the basically the county
Yeah.
and the state
We'll
take
cover the rest.
cover the rest exactly.
Yeah.
Because the voucher is actually federal, so the feds give them to the state hands them out to the county, and then the county hands them out to the cities.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get them directly from the feds,
Okay.
the housing vouchers. But we'll see. I mean, I do not like what's going on. They're basically doing this without any discretion from the city council, right? That means we can't even tell them, that you're too close to the street, or you should do more landscaping, or you should bury the utility lines.
Yeah.
They get a bunch of waivers for all of that stuff, all the impacts that they have on our streets, the traffic, all of that. They don't have to address it at all. So I don't think it's the right way to build a city. We had some really good guidelines. We have a general plan that we're updating right now. And I think that as a city, we care about our community, our kids that are getting older and going to want to live in Oceanside and going to want to work and then pay a rent that's reasonable. I don't think they're helping our affordable housing situation at all. When they have to do 10% or 15% affordable housing, we can't even ask them, could you please make sure it's an Oceanside resident? Can you please make sure it's someone that's living here right now?
Yeah, which is
know,
the goal, provide
Yeah.
provide the assistance for all the residents.
Yeah. Teachers, whatever, And so we asked the city attorney, can we tell them? Can we give them a list? Hey, maybe there's five affordable housing units. We'll give them a list of 20. If Oceanside residents, can they be made to pick from that list? And the city attorney said no. The state's very clear. You cannot tell them who can live there. You can't even require Oceanside residents.
That's insane.
It
So
is.
It's to the state.
Yeah, it's still kind of like a lottery raffle, sort of, but you just gotta get picked and get lucky. It doesn't matter where your name is from.
And you know what they say is that they first say, okay, do I have any relatives? Like a nephew or a niece or something. Hey, I offer them. I don't know. That's what they say about Carlsbad, but Carlsbad has 20%.
Carlsbad has 20%.
20%.
Yeah.
Wow.
Can imagine them like, hey, Sobrino, I got some new apartments coming.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh man. Well, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget we're still here hanging out with Esther Sanchez, Mayor of Oceanside. And sorry, Louis, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I do want to segue just really quickly to some of those comments that I see popping up on screen right there. I think we got Clara Gutierrez tuning in saying, thank you for bringing us this topic, Bruce. Bruce, you're the man today, man.
Yeah.
Juan Juarez is saying, Esther, la alcaldesa de la gente. And then
Gracias,
we have
Juan.
Arlen Hammersmith. I
Juanito.
believe she was tagging some people, trying to get them to watch. And I think we have some more comments on Instagram. If you would do us that favor, please, Piccolo.
Ooh, Piccolo.
We have the Instagram ones. New feature for this new season, by the way.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm learning Instagram.
We have a lot of people.
They
tuning
say
in.
you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Yeah, I'm trying.
It just takes a little bit longer. Yeah.
It's like, how do you add the music to this?
I was there actually last year.
I still have that problem sometimes. just today, I was talking to the boys, and I was like, I was talking to Lance. He's not here today. I was like, I'm trying to make the flyer, post it, but it keeps going into video form. It's like, oh, you probably have it under real format, and I was like, oh,
You're
it's
right.
just literally the button to the left. I'm like,
And I hear Apple is easier than Android, and I've got an Android phone, so
I have the
Yeah.
best of both worlds. I can say, yeah. Apple makes things a lot easier.
this man has 2 phones.
I might be, changing up.
Yeah.
There you go. Or you just have two.
Yeah, but Juan said something. He said, mayor of the people's mayor, right? In español, dijo, the people's mayor, and that's what I consider myself. Because I really think that you have to have everybody at the table, and that's having that dialogue. You have the best, the best outcome, right? I mean, you gotta. There has to be a compromise, right? But you have to have the people there, and I don't think this council, they don't like to listen to the people.
It ain't it.
It's unfortunate,
Aw.
because to me, the people are our family, our community, and that's where we come from. So why would we not be listening? Yeah, but I would be so happy to have the People's Council with Jimmy Figueroa in District 3, myself getting reelected, and then Amber Kay. Yeah,
just
that'd
out
be
here
so cool.
handling-
District
just out here
4.
handing the people's elbow. Bam.
I can see the vision. Honestly.
Yeah, me too. And I do want to thank you, Esther, because I feel like through your term, the voice of Oceanside has been heard a little bit more because, with all the development that happened downtown and with all the new things that were moving in, it felt like it was too quick and, nobody's input was really being listened. And at this stage, I mean, we already accepted most of the changes. And even with the Regal, being torn down and, going through that new phase pretty soon, it still does feel like, now they're paying attention to the local residents out here. And the one thing that still kind of threw me off when we did go to the council meeting was for the amphitheater, when we were talking about redeveloping that. And I still haven't really heard any follow-ups on that, but hopefully when the day comes, we'll be there present.
That was a hard push by, I think, a couple of our council members to improve it, but maybe make it more part of the hotel. And the hotel, I think, was looking forward to doing something like that. I think when we rallied was when they started talking about turning the beach community center, the Junior Seau Beach Community Center, into something completely different. Like, oh, yeah, there's basketball court in there, but it's not really competition size. So we really should get rid of that and do something else. And so the community, Mary Seau and others got together and went to all the meetings and stopped that from happening. I was really proud of the community that they said, no, this is a beach community center. It was always for the youth, kind of a multi-use kind of a thing. Also, everybody. I remember the American GI Forum used to have their parties in there. Yeah, but I mean, I was so proud, and so yeah. Right now, we're not working on that. Right now, the priority is the pier, the concrete part of the pier.
Yep.
Yeah, it's almost 100 years old. Some of the slabs are starting to fall, so it's becoming a public safety issue. But that's going to be. It started off at $27 million. Now it's over $45 million to fix. So that's a big high priority. It's a public safety issue. Yeah. But then at the same time, we're going to be fixing the end of the pier.
Yeah, that's
so
true. And I do got to
Two
point
for
out,
one.
you were one of our local politicians out here that was on site while the pier caught fire the same
Yes.
day.
yes.
Can you tell us what was running through your mind and how you felt that impacted you?
Well, first I was hoping everybody would be safe. So I kept asking it, did everybody make it out on time? Is anybody there anymore? Also, everybody that responded, it was great. We had so many agencies respond, police and fire, and also the Manson's construction. They brought that big barge, they brought it over and they did a lot more. If they hadn't done that, I think it would have burned more than what it did. But to make everybody safe first, and I thought, I was really afraid that the whole pier was going to go. That was my concern. But they stopped it at the Hammerhead. They stopped it, so it was really good. If you ask what are the plans, to build it right back to the 1,954 feet, it is.
There you
So
go.
it's going to come back
Nice.
that long. Yeah, and a restaurant.
in a restaurant.
Yeah. Yeah.
What restaurant was supposed
It,
to
it
be
was Ruby's, I think, for like
Yes.
the longest time.
Right.
And then it switched over to a different ownership, but I just can't remember the name of that restaurant.
Yeah, so it was Ruby's, and then they did bankruptcy, right? And then they sold it to this company, and this company was talking about doing all glass windows all around. So can you imagine having dinner right in the middle of the ocean?
I remember.
Okay.
I do remember
Pretty
people
cool.
being hyped about it and saying that the people that owned that restaurant had a pretty good reputation with their other restaurants
Yeah.
they've had.
That's what I heard.
I don't remember the name.
That's crazy.
It's a weird name. I don't remember it. If you
Well,
guys know out there, let us know. Let us know.
Shoot that
in the-
comment.
In the future, it should happen, hopefully.
Mhm.
You know, but I was scared, not gonna lie, when the pier caught fire. I didn't want to see it collapse, and I'm
Right.
glad nothing happened, nothing major. But
Yeah.
that was at least my personal main concern. I just didn't want to see it collapse into the ocean.
I mean, it's so iconic. What's the first thing you think about when you think about Oceanside, right? You think about the pier. People take so many pictures of the pier. That pier probably appears, in a lot of places all over the world. That picture of the pier
Yeah, well, I believe it's the longest wooden pier in
Yeah.
California, right, or the
on
West
the West
Coast.
Coast. Yeah,
Oh dang,
yeah.
that's right. But let me ask you a question, switching from
Yeah.
that topic. As you look back on your first term as mayor,
Yes.
what are some of the things you would have done differently?
I was trying to do my very, very best to show that a woman can be a mayor, right? Because of all the girls that, here in our city, all the women, and all the boys too. Hey, if a girl could do it, and then a boy could do it too, right? Kind of thing, right?
Right.
So I wish that I could have convinced my colleagues to give me at least a shot at Sandag, because I think I would have made a difference.
Yes.
Yeah, I worked with and let's just put it out there. I was the only Democrat. I've been the only almost the entire time I've been on the council, 24 years. For most of that, I want to say 20 years, I've been the only woman, the only Democrat, and the only person of color. And it's tough. It's tough because, I so want us to work together on these issues, because you get a term of 4 years, and you try to, as much as possible, do as much as you can, because you never know what's going to happen, right?
Right,
You never know. But I do wish that I could have convinced my colleagues to allow us to kind of follow more like maybe staff recommendations on, say, the shelter, for example, and to do more to try to stop a lot of these projects. I think that, they were given direction from the city manager by the majority of the council. Just do it as fast as you can, and just get it done. And I'm very concerned about that. That's how it felt. I can't tell you if that's the truth, but that's what it felt, because there's hardly any reaction to any of the other council members about these really tall, really very dense, hardly any parking, I mean, the columns, you can park really close to, they didn't even give that much space, and hey, I've had my car scraped from parking
You
next
get
to a
those-
column,
Yeah.
You get those little
and I wasn't
bumps.
even drinking anything, So it's like, what? How do I get out of here?
You
But,
barely open the door up. Like,
Yeah.
I swear, like I go in like with a little bit to the right, so I have enough space to open that door. Because sometimes it's just they're really compact parking.
So let's just say that the standards that we've been,
Given.
thrown in our face are very low standards. I don't think before these laws started, I don't think we ever would have agreed to this, because when are we going to be without cars? When are we not going to be able to have to drive to work? Over 60%, something like 65% of our workforce drives in a car by themselves to work an average of 22 miles. That's not what we should be doing. We need more jobs in Oceanside. Or at least close to like the Sprinter station, or more busing, more public transportation. That's what we need to get people out of their cars. But no one's cracked that nut yet, right? Not even City of San Diego. I hear complaints that, hey, some of these buses are empty. There needs to be a way. I remember because planning was my background in college, right? I remember they were talking about staggering work hours so that you don't have like all of this traffic all at the same time, and all everybody getting to the train at the same time, and there's different ways of doing things. Even on a bus, the way they were doing it is like Sao Paulo. They would do a platform, and the doors would open like this, so people can roll in and out of the bus, just like as if it was a subway, but it was a bus. Maybe go smaller in a bus, and then the other thing I'm not really sure that is going to work is, they call it the road diet. They're going to cut down to 1 lane each way on Coast Highway. I don't know if it's going to work because of the delivery trucks and,
all
it's
businesses right there.
And supposedly we're going to still have buses, right? So everyone's going to be in the same lane. That doesn't make sense. In other cities and I've had a chance to live in other cities where as a student, I use the bus. I got a $30 month pass. And it's like, yeah, I'm really lucky. I can, I'm a student. I can get a $30 pass. And they would have a lane just for the bus, and it would be priority. I mean, they get the green light before everybody else did. And, I always got everywhere I needed to on time. We have to rethink this. We really do. For the future, for the kids,
Yeah,
That's
I do remember hearing about it, and I think we even discussed it here at the podcast. That whole Coast Highway roundabouts, 1 lane south, 1 lane north, and we discussed it. We were like, I understand they're trying to get more parking, maybe extend bike lanes, which is very good for like the bikes. But when it comes to our road traffic, it's not going to be as fluid, even with the roundabouts.
Especially if we're, sometimes people on the freeway want to get off. And in fact, the whole idea was to, we want to slow down the traffic so that they see, there's businesses. Hey, look, that restaurant looks good. Hey, let me stop, right? The idea wasn't, let me just drive through here and, oh my gosh, I'm stopped. Well, maybe I shouldn't have come to downtown Oceanside after all. That was not the idea, right? And I'll tell you, that hasn't even come to the council once in like 10 years, because I think now maybe people would think differently about that, right? Because I don't know if we need to have it like the whole way of having all these roundabouts, right? Because I mean, can buses go through there? Can a fire truck really go through there? Can and what happens if you have an ambulance? I guess you're going to have to go on a different route because you're not going to be able to use Coast Highway. It's going to be stuck. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just, I wish that we could just look at it, but it would require a majority to say, hey, Mr. City Manager, put that on the agenda so we can look at what's going on, what's the status, and hey, maybe we should tweak it. Because some of the businesses downtown are losing parking in front of them. And if they do that, they may have to close. And the whole idea was to highlight the businesses on Coast Highway so, people can, like, hey, like the Ace store, hardware store, the proposal was to take out all of his parking in the front, right? It's like, what? He can't do that. If you do that, then he might have to close. And we don't need that. We need more shops. We don't need less. Yeah.
If you were to be reelected for a second term,
yeah,
what are some of the policies you would try to implement?
Oh my gosh, we would move so much faster on doing affordable housing. We have places there's 3 projects coming up that I think are going to bring in, including this one that just happened, 300, right? We haven't done that for 7 years. We didn't have an affordable housing project. The one that just got the Greenbrier Village, it took 2 shots for him to finally get through, right? Because the council said no the first time. It's like, no, we don't like you. We want somebody else. God knows who, But anyway, I would do more affordable housing. I would really do more in terms of our homeless, because I believe that we have enough dollars. We spend like over $11 million on our homeless issues. I feel that we can or come up with a different plan of spending that money. If we know that that's how much money we have in the budget, I think we would think of many better ways of dealing with the homeless. I think that, having a real shelter and having transitional housing and getting folks to get used to living back at home. I mean, there's not, what is it, 15%, maybe 15%, or, I don't know if it's as high as 20% of, they say, have problems with, psychological or psychiatric, kind of like having, problems with drug abuse and maybe being psychotic or something like that. I don't know if it's that high, but certainly if you give people the opportunity, and that's when I was a deputy public defender, drug court had the highest success rate, 85% success rate, and gave people a brand new start at life, right? Go back to work, and because when something gets under your skin, you lose everything, right? You first start to steal from your family, and then you lose that, those relationships, right? Mm-hmm. But I think that we could do so much better. I think that we can together. And I do think that we should have had a workshop, and we should do that, a workshop, and have people come in that are experts and say, okay, wow, if you have this much money, let's figure out better ways to do this. Not just council members, because I think council members, I do have a background, but I'm not an expert. I'm the first to say I'm not an expert. I want to hear what the plans are. I know I've seen things work much better, like, being in the courthouse and seeing like people really, really trying to, with everybody, like, rooting for them, right? Saying, yeah, you can do this, you can do this. So let's do that. Yeah. That, and also Parkside 1, that's supposed to break ground next fall. And that's for the 12 pickleball courts and the dog park and the basketball and a pump track. Mm-hmm. Do you guys like pump tracks?
I'm not even sure what that is.
Bike, MX bikes.
Oh, okay. Kind of like what they did in San Marcos.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Couple of fields, because we always are short of fields. Yeah. But that's supposed to break ground, and if we can get that built within a year, finally do something that was supposed to be at El Corazon. We were supposed to be building a park, which is another reason we need a plan, a circulation plan, a traffic plan, because people are going to be coming to the aquatic center and the park and the arena all at the same time on a very narrow road. So we'll see what happens. I really want to fix that, though. Make sure that we have shuttles and that everybody, pay into it, because that's the only fair thing to do.
I think it's pretty great that we get to hear your perspective on this, and also showcase to people that your awareness of all the issues, and also your interest.
There's one other thing, and I can't leave this out, right? Sand.
Sand,
everybody is really, really. I've been trying to push for us to do a sand replenishment, that our city do it, but the Army Corps of Engineers were supposed to be doing it for us.
What happened
and
with
so.
that?
Well, they're restarting the study finally, right? Mm-hmm. But they were doing that back in 2000, right? So it was it's supposed to be a 3-year study. It started, just before 2000. It should have finished, and here we are restarting it, right? So the plan may be that, just like Encinitas, Solana Beach, San Clemente, that maybe every 5 years you have a ginormous sand replenishment project. We need to figure out how to ensure that we keep that sand, right? And we could be doing our own sand replenishment. We can set aside some of the money that's coming from the hotel, the tax, the transient occupancy tax, the TOT is what they call it.
Okay.
and set that aside so that every year, or every however time, we can put sand on our beach, right? So that's very, very important. I mean, I grew up on the beach,
Right. Yeah,
right?
same.
Who didn't in Oceanside, right? And so we all remember having a beach, and I want to make that happen. Now that everybody, it's a big focus, and everybody's saying, pointing the finger, well, who didn't do what, whatever. It's like, let's just stop pointing the fingers and let's just do this. I mean, I was able to. The North Coastal cities got really upset when our council majority said, "Oh, let's do groins." That's like 2 football fields length, like 14 to 18 walls going all the way from the beach all the way out to sea. That wouldn't have been a very nature-based kind of a project, right? And it would have screwed with the surfing, and nobody wants to screw with the surfing. That's for sure.
Right.
Did you guys surf at all?
Well,
I
we
just did
just-
the body surfing. That's all I was
I
doing.
just served the World Wide Web.
Oh, wow.
About it
Plus,
too
we
for
just
me.
had that major event, Surf Girl Pro, that
Yes.
usually comes here every year.
Super Girls. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, we have several, and we're iconic. We are a surfing city. We are a swimming city. We are a city very proud of the beach. So that's another one I want to do in 4 years. I want to solve a lot of issues, but with the people at the table. And that we go forward, maybe holding hands, I don't know, but, together. Because I don't like this, divisiveness that seems to, well, it always comes out around election time, of course. You got to figure out, well, what's the difference? Because I don't, the police officers and firefighters have endorsed me 4 times, I think 4 times each. This time they're not endorsed me. Well, Ryan is a former cop. So, of course, that was going to happen. I mean, cops have their own back, right? But there's our votes have not been different at all. And in fact, I know we need to have more police officers, and also get them out of the job of working with our homeless. We need, more social workers and people who are more in tune with working with this community, and maybe being a little more successful and having our officers out responding to whatever. Usually it's a traffic problem, but something. But yeah, there's a lot that we can do together as a community. In 2001, we had a maximum of $8 million in our capital improvement project, CIP fund. And the city manager, because I said, I want to build the senior center. I want it. We need it. And he said, well, if you do that, all of that money is going to be taken. We won't have any money to do anything else. I said, I don't care. We've got to do this. It was the best thing to do, right, to build out there at El Corazon. And now we have an aquatic center, right? Yep. Very proud of the aquatic center.
And talking about working with the community, Balderrama Park.
Oh, wow.
Can you go ahead and
You
give
have
us
to
more
go
ins-
there.
I do.
Yeah. Oh, so cool. The
Yeah.
murals.
The murals. I see that you were involved, pretty hands-on
Yeah,
in this whole
yeah.
experience. Could you go ahead
Yeah.
and walk us through that whole process? And what is your opinion? What are your thoughts?
I knew that had to happen sometime. And I kept thinking it's not the right time. It's not the right time. Because some of our some of our community couldn't be at the park because of that darn gang injunction, even though they'd moved away and we're no longer, having any contacts whatsoever. They were still on that darn gang injunction, which meant basically that if they were at the park, they get arrested for violating the restraining order,
Yeah.
So the fact that the DA, Summer Stephan, decided to dissolve the gang injunction everywhere in San Diego County was a really fantastic thing, because it meant that we can finally come together, and that somebody decided to have a mural project. Of course, it was only supposed to be on 2 little walls, right? 2
That's
little
what I
walls.
heard. It's supposed to be on 2 walls, but we saw how that went.
Yeah. I talked the city manager into letting us paint every single wall, and he said yes, but he said, well, I don't know if he really thought, how can this happen? It was the street art. It was the street artists really that said, "Hey, I've been waiting a long time for this.
Yeah.
I want to do this. I want to do this now." Before somebody says no,
Yeah.
and I don't think they really believed that it would happen. And the first meetings that we had with the, and I went to the meetings with the street artists, they were all, like checking each other out, like, okay, I don't know who you are, but, and then like by the third or fourth meeting, they were so together and supporting each other and thinking, this is my, what do you want to put on there? Well, this is my vision. And they all started helping each other with, the design and ideas. And oh gosh, have you been to the park?
I have, and also the development for it, because this is all
This
local
is
artists.
beautiful.
All
Yes.
local artists go ahead and paint these murals,
Shout out.
and not only are they
Yes.
giving their own ideas, they are also learning off the experience and the history behind the park as
Yes.
well. In which, if some artists are like not from that area but in the city, they're going ahead and dab into the history and put it in their artwork.
Yeah. So what they started to do is research the history of the East Side or Barrio Pozole, right? And it's like finding out that the Latino community has been around and there for like since the turn of the century, right? Early 1900s, right?
Yep.
And it was just exciting to see that they did this, kind of research and then thought about our roots, right? Aztec roots. And so you've got, the indígena there, right? You've got the real history and also the history of pozole, which is a dish. And talking about this woman who used to sell pozole, in the streets and everybody would say, vamos al pozole, let's go get some pozole, right? So it was pretty cool to see everybody come together, and the family from that, whatever she was, Thea or whatever, grandmother, whatever, they came and told the story. It was really cool just having everybody. And it was such a healing process, because, we've gone through a lot,
Yeah.
East Side. And to see everybody supporting, I mean, you could really feel the love, really. And it was so exciting for me because there was something that told me it wasn't time. And then all of a sudden, this was the time. And it's great. And they're going to celebrate December, I think the first Saturday in December. Chicano Park, folks from Chicano Park are going to come and bless it. They're going to be like sister parks. It's so cool. Yeah, it's so exciting to see. And this, hopefully, it's the idea is like, well, how can we stop gentrification? How can we stop the sense of like, hey, this doesn't feel like our neighborhood anymore? This was one way that they're doing it. And Joanne Tafilis, who answered the call to oversee the whole project. And she had done a project over at Laurel Elementary before, so she knew some of the street artists already. It was so cool the way everybody related to her because she let them explore, their creative side and it had to be all positive, right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, there were a few rules, right? But I mean, it is a kids' park, so the idea is, what of yourself are you going to show? Like a positive thing for the future. And the first mural was a children's mural that they got ideas from Laurel Elementary. They asked the kids, what do you want to see on a mural? And so if you see the kids' mural, it's the back of the bathrooms. I mean, who cares about the bathroom? It's like everybody wants to get rid of those bathrooms. But they actually cleaned it out and improved the building. And, kind of made it so that they could paint on it. And it's both brush and spray. And they painted hope. And inside the letters and outside the letters, all the dibujos that the kids had come up with.
Yeah.
The
that's
children's wall.
That's awesome.
Children's wall.
Damn.
Well, thank you for bringing that up, Esther, because I had heard it from Bruce that there was a possibility that we were gonna be sister cities or sister parks with Chicano Park.
Yep.
But now knowing that it's gonna happen in December, it's very exciting. So does that mean that we're gonna get more murals and more of these walls?
I wanted to say that the next mural is going to be at Crown Heights, because of the
Yep.
wall. it has to be a joint project with Oceanside Unified School District, though, because I guess the wall was paid for by Oceanside Unified School District. But I think that that's going to be so cool. And I actually talked to a couple of Vista council members about doing it in Vista too, because the whole idea is you're not going to tag, right? I mean, it's going to be covered with anti-tag, seal, whatever, but to respect each other and finally come together, right? So it started with the John Landis murals, and then East Side, Crown Heights, and then
And don't forget the American Baseball League.
oh my God,
Ooh.
yes!
Shout
Oh
out,
my God,
shout out to
yeah.
Oceanside Hit Ups, by the way. Shout out to Mike
Shout out.
being
Yes.
a big hand on these projects for the
Yeah.
murals.
Mike Lagos, yes, he's been wonderful, and then he keeps us all on track. I mean, he really has a good vision, and he has a really good way of relating to people, and he's always able to bring people together. So Joanne and Mike have been just wonderful tag team. Yeah. Well, not tagging, but you know what I mean.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. What you
Like
mean.
wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
You
everybody.
build those walls, we'll paint them.
Exactly. And then after that, go back to Libby Lake, because Libby Lake really had a mural, but it's a small wall. It's time for them to have a bigger wall.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like as myself, like when I was a student, I used to attend actually to the Reach program. That was
Yeah.
that was at the Vista Community Clinic. That's
Yeah,
right
yeah.
there in front of the neighborhood of Mesa.
Yes.
And that was actually
Yeah.
I was part of that generation too, where it was our school friends. I say ours because that's a collective. All the homies and homegirls
Yeah.
already know we went through that
All
experience
of us,
together.
yeah.
That was our friends that were taken away from violence, in which it brought us together as a community and brought the awareness up. You know, just seeing the Libby Lake itself get its own projects being done, and also getting more stuff for the children, of course, and the youth and the future generations is just a beautiful thing to see all around.
Yeah, so Libby Lake, I was there when they, I guess the city had bought all that land, right? And they were talking to the people and saying, what do you want here? So it was, the community center that they have there, and all
Yeah.
the, jobs. I think it was Project SED, job training, and of course the Vista Community Clinic, and just different things, And then they also wanted to be able to have own their own homes, right? So Habitat for Humanity, what was it, 12? Was it 12 homes? I think
I think it was around 12 homes. So give a
Yeah.
rough estimate on that.
Yeah. But it was a great partnership, because they really did reach out to the community and ask them, what do you want here? What do you want to, how do you want to see it? And it was a great place for them to meet. Still is,
Still is.
But I think that there was one guy, Joe Diaz, who was the kind of the leader for a little bit. And I guess he still lives over there. I said, hey, Joe, are you going to start, having a community meetings again? He said, I don't know. But yeah, we need, leadership there as well.
Yeah, speaking about also me bringing it back to the Reach program that I attended.
Yeah.
What's your perspective on after school programs?
I fought to have after school programs. When I saw what was happening, when I first got on the council, that, you know what, we are having really bad relations with the police. And what do we need to do? And it has to be positive. It can't be punitive. We can't, you can't
Force it.
Can't force it, because, there's a culture there, right? So
Yeah.
how do you turn a negative into a positive? So, okay, what do we need to do? And on the police side, they were getting paid the worst in the county. So I could see why, it was a revolving door. They'd come, they trained, and then they go somewhere else,
Yeah,
right?
get the experience and then develop.
Yeah, exactly. So it's okay. We got to keep them. We got to work on retention. We got to get better trained. We got to do everything possible to have a better police force. And then on the youth side, I didn't like the idea of a gang injunction. I understand that was something that some people in the community has supported, but I always think that there's a more positive way to do things. After school programming. So yeah, I was pushing that really, really hard. And because when I was a kid, they had after school programs, right? right there, right at the Jill Valderrama Park. Right
Yep,
there.
and it's so important too for low income families as well, or middle class families as well. We're talking about families that have to pick up second jobs or even three jobs
Yeah.
and have to work different hours of the time, and they got to be concerned for their children and where to put them in. Of
Yeah.
course, if they have no immediate relatives to go ahead and look over, or for
Yeah.
them to even afford daycare, because that's one thing about these parents that got to deal with if they are busy from working just to keep the household going is
Yeah.
who's going to take care of the kids, and if daycare's involved, how much is that going to cost?
Yeah, you don't want it to cost half of your salary, right? I mean,
Right.
you want it. So, yeah, that was something and I've been pushing and pushing. So, Measure X, that's when the first one happened, and I want to say that I really pushed. You have to have after school programs, and so they put it under public safety, right? And so now they're doing Measure X. It was Measure X was for 7 years. They're doing that for the last 2 years, last 3 years. The first 4 years didn't do nothing, right? And I was pretty sad. It's like, well, did you just say you were going to do it and you're not going to do it? I mean,
Just leave
that's
this
not.
hanging.
It's not good to break a promise, right?
Right.
Right. And so I kept saying, hey, when are you going to do? When are you going to start doing this? And they finally did 3 years ago. This is our third year, right? So they are starting to do it, but I was hoping we'd have like ballet folklorico after school or mariachi class.
Ooh, that'd
Wouldn't
be
that be
dope.
cool?
Right.
Yeah.
That would be dope to have a mariachi class.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. Maybe we could talk to Luis,
yeah.
from the Noche Mexicana.
Yeah, and speaking about that, let's get a little bit into
Oh,
about
yes.
Noche Mexicana.
Noche
man.
We've been
Mexicana.
talking about all
Wow.
these, hot debate topics,
Yeah.
for the election. But let's talk a little bit of Noche Mexicana, man. I'm so honored and proud to have
Picket
been part
Labs,
of
you
that.
guys rocked it.
Oh man, it was so much fun. It
The
was
whole
fun.
city rocked it. I can say that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I would even go a little bit further and say the whole county.
Yep.
We
Yeah.
had people from other cities come through and say what's up, and it was a
Yeah.
beautiful event. It was beautiful. It was a much better outcome than I thought, and
Yeah.
yeah, I thought there was way more people. I would say there was easily at least about like 1,000 people minimum, I think.
I would say more.
I would
Maybe
say Well, that's
why I
5 to
said-
10,000, because like the
That's why I
end
said
stat,
minimum.
the end stat
People
was like
kept coming and going, right?
yeah, all day.
Yeah.
The Diablos. Oh my
Oh, it was
gosh.
dope.
I love those guys.
Dude,
Those
they
guys are
came in
great.
with a
They
came in with a
came-
banda. I was like,
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, that whiplash they do, it always throws me
yeah.
off.
I was all like, all right,
What's
where's
that noise?
I'm like, where's that young buck that's always whipping that? Because every time we see him, we always see their youth just whipping the whip like on their spare time. I'm like, God dang, they're just cracking that.
No, so we hadn't done it since the 2019, because of the COVID thing. And then it was really hard to restart it, but there was so much support for it. You
Yeah.
guys came out and said, hey, we'll do the music for you if that's going to help. Yeah. I mean, the sound, everything. You guys rocked it.
Oh,
Thank
man.
you so much. Because if you hadn't done that, I don't know that we would have been able to get it done.
Yeah, no, it was, events like that for the community, like we're always
Yeah.
down. And we kind of saw it as a challenge too. It was like, we haven't done
Yeah.
an event like this. So
Right?
it was interesting. And aside from that,
Would you do it
was-
again?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
Yes.
100%
Absolutely.
we
Wouldn't even
would.
think about it.
And now that we've done it once, like next time it would definitely be a little bit better. It was, no, it was just a fun time.
It was one hell of a day, huh, Louis?
Oh, it
How we
was.
all work differently to get it going.
It was, I like how anytime you do an event, there's always something, there's always going to be little mishaps and stuff. And I
Yeah.
wouldn't say it's one of my favorite, but it was definitely funny. Was at the beginning when we had the pastor of St. Mary's come through to try to do the
Do the
bendición,
blessing,
and then
yeah.
and then the microphone, the batteries died out on the wireless microphone. And
I was
I
like,
just
oh no, I hope this doesn't happen throughout the day.
and
No, I didn't.
I just remember everybody looking to the sound booth to me and Lance and just like, what's going on? I was like, I looked at Vic or Bruce. I was like, give him that other mic. And aside from that, it was a fun time. It was great vibes. It was awesome
Oh, wow.
being
It
part
was
of the
amazing.
being part of the board and just seeing how you guys figure big events like that out. It was definitely great.
It was a lot of sharing.
It was.
You saw that.
It
It was a
was.
lot of sharing. And what's his name? Mandujano. Adrian.
Mm-hmm.
who did
Yeah,
all the
shout out to
booths.
Adrian, man.
Oh my gosh, he did a great job
He
with the
did.
booths. The artisan booths.
Yeah.
We never had that many. I mean, I think we had maybe
minimum
15,
50.
20.
Minimum
He did
50.
over 50.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Over
that
50
was great.
vendors there.
That was amazing. And then the food, he had like 13 food vendors.
I don't think it was enough.
Some people, ran out of food.
Yeah,
It was
I mean, I
amazing.
already kind of have ideas of my own for next year, but like we definitely needed like some sopes, we needed some pozole.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Stage design could have been, I don't know. I don't want to get into it just yet.
But it was nice that we were able to get the stage, the same stage we usually get, and the canopy that we usually get,
Right.
and all the chairs, because there were a lot of people who sat in those chairs.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because usually they don't, maybe half every chair was taken.
Yeah, no, that
It was
whole
like,
that
wow.
whole sidewalk behind us was all packed with people.
Mhm.
I just look back and I'm like, oh man.
yeah.
this is-
Maybe bleachers or something next year.
Oh, bleachers.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Interesting.
ideas. They don't tell
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Little-
Bleachers. You're gonna get my
Where-
mind going.
he's already thinking, okay, where can I get bleachers?
Where could we put the bleachers?
And I do want to take this time to also give a shout out to all the car clubs that also attended as well. I want
Yes.
to give a shout out to Socios Car Club for attending. I want to give a shout out to Fuertes Car Club to attend,
Shout out.
Por Siempre Car Club attending, and Visions Car Club attending as well. These type of events for the culture is not without our lowrider community.
Absolutely.
Salute.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think everybody was happy. Everybody is happy whenever we throw this. It's like it's amazing. It's really amazing. And the next one is
Ooh,
Dia
next
de
one.
Dia de los
Dia
Muertos. Where's the flyer? Yeah, I think there's one over
Oh,
there. Yeah.
Do we have it up? I don't think.
I don't think
it
we
on the
have a
computer.
flyer.
I don't think we have a flyer for
Yeah.
that.
So you guys are thinking about doing that too, right?
I believe so.
Yes, I think we already committed to it. But yeah, October
Wow.
27th, Dia de los Muertos in downtown Oceanside.
Yeah.
Now that's even bigger, a lot bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That's cool.
Yeah, we keep hearing
Okay,
that.
that's a big challenge.
Yeah, because that one's more like a sunset market style.
Oh, okay. So it's
Uh,
gonna be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm ready for that. I like events like that.
Yeah, and also a great opportunity for all the vendors, all small local owned
Yeah.
businesses that go ahead and get on the hustle and have opportunity to get, the money for the business to keep going, the money for the rent, the money for the children,
Yeah.
and all that. Which they gripped. That event grossed what for the vendors like what 30 over 34.
Yeah, but over 34,000. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
was the final
Almost
result.
35.
But I mean, it was just a great turnout, and it was nothing but love in the community that day.
Yeah, the community definitely needed something like that. I believe.
Yeah.
And I felt it that day.
For the past few years, I worked on my birthday. That was one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Victor, you laugh at that?
No,
September
'cause
15th?
you're not wrong.
September 15th. Yeah, it is
September
his
15
birthday.
is my birthday.
Oh
I-
wow!
Yeah.
And I
Wow, that's
believe,
really lucky.
Last year we did it in Vista,
In
right?
Vista,
We did it for the car
low,
cruise.
low rider
15,
cruise.
yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
sir. Great turnout that day too.
Well, St. Mary's is also doing a fall fair on the 6th, October 6th.
Okay.
And they actually make tamales. I mean, everything is home done.
I heard tamales. I'm
Great
in.
stuff.
Yeah, I heard some outlets.
Yeah.
I'm ready for
October
that.
6th.
You're appealing to my big boy.
We need those flyers, Esther. We need those sent over.
Yeah. I do have, out of all the people that have tuned in, one person did drop a question. And shout out to
Yeah.
my boy Michael Gabriel. And
Yeah.
he wants to know we have talked about cannabis yet. And we
Yeah.
understand that you're not you're not
The
for
biggest-
cannabis. Yeah.
The biggest fan, yeah. For me, it's about the youth, and I've wanted to make sure that it's not near neighborhoods, especially parks, schools, whatever. And that's my biggest issue is ensuring that maybe other parts of the city, right?
More like business.
Not just in the
areas,
Latino
yeah.
community. It seems like everything is in the Latino community. It's like, okay, a lot of our community spent a lot of time in jail and prison over something like this. And, my mom grew a bush because she had arthritis. So she would make this homegrown kind of
Remedy.
ointment. Yeah. So I've never really thought, twice about it. But it's the edibles that I'm worried about, for the kids. And so maybe more education. And the other thing I wanted to do is get whatever the tax was for the city, that they commit to turning that around to education, positive for the youth. maybe after school programming, whatever, mariachi, whatever,
Yeah.
But the city council's never committed, never. And I thought, well, I want to see that commitment to our youth because, I mean, I guess what they were saying is that a lot of the youth were ending up in the hospital because they were, kind of freaking out a little bit, right? But I think that's like maybe the initial thing, right? And hoping that if the city does invest some of that tax, because I know that the police officers want that, right? They want, and I don't know if they want it all or maybe just the largest chunk, but it really needs to go to the youth because we do that, it makes it safer, and then then it makes more sense to me. Yeah.
So there you guys have it.
Yeah.
If you want to get high, invest in a higher education.
Get high in life.
Yes, please.
Yeah,
Don't forget,
I like
everybody.
that.
We're here with
I
Mayor
like that.
Esther Sanchez. And shout out to everybody who's been commenting, everybody tuning in through the Instagram, through the YouTube, Facebook, through Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whichever platform you're on. Thank you for joining us today. And,
Thank you.
I do want to get into some of these comments that came through on the YouTube. I see Juanito. He was pretty active for a couple of comments out there.
It's always great seeing Juanito, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually saw him on Saturday.
Yeah.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. This election is going to be very critical. There is a lot of money on the other side, money that's coming even out of Chicago, believe it or not. Realtors Association of Chicago, $50,000 to drop ads for my opponent. You have to wonder why Chicago cares about Oceanside election, right? My concern is that that this is an attempt to buy our city, buy big parcels, just like where the Stater Brothers is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a very busy shopping center.
Yep.
It's a very busy grocery store. It's like the only one in the valley, and we don't have anything else besides, around there, right? So they actually bought it for $53 million, and they want to make housing there.
So that Stater Brothers is going to be torn down?
Well, they did not want to be named, right? But I don't know. Maybe they start at the other end. But who does that?
Right.
Wow. Yeah.
Who does that on a business? Usually you hear, underperforming shopping center.
No,
What shall we do? Oh, we need to build housing. Okay, fine. But make it something good. This is not underperforming. This shopping center is really busy, right? I mean, they kept putting different things in there.
Yeah, you got a little bit of everything there. You got banks. You got a bar.
I don't drink
Pizza.
anymore. My favorite bar
Fiesta
is there.
Mexicana. Yeah. You got a lot of places there. So my concern is that these outside interests are wanting to buy large parcels of Oceanside and build sky high, make a ton of money. We can't let our city be bought like that. So that's why I'm saying this is a very critical election. Everybody has to vote. Everybody has to come out and vote. For the mayor, this is the first time that there's only 2 people. Last time there were 85,000 who voted in the mayor's race. There were 12 of us, right?
I remember that. We had like 4
different candidates.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So we need everybody to vote and everyone to vote for the people, for a people's council. That's Jimmy Figueroa, that's Amber Kay, and it's reelecting me. And and I love the name that people have given me, the People's Mayor, because I listen to you, I help you whenever I can. You reach out and I respond to you. I call you back. I send emails back and I meet with you and all that. Because I really believe that that's our job. That's supposed to be my job. So that's what I want to say is this is such a critical race. They're going to throw a lot of things out, probably say not nice things about me. Hey, I've been on the council for 24 years. If there was anything really bad about me, you would have heard about it, right?
True.
Right.
So
A quick input. I also want to put the Albertsons shopping center as well off of College. That has also been purchased as well.
Oh, wow. That's 2?
That's 2.
That's not good.
I just want people to be aware.
College and
about this.
Oceanside Boulevard?
Yeah.
Where the Planet Fitness is at?
Yeah.
Dang.
Wait, that's where it's like a KFC / Taco Bell, right?
Yeah. That plaza.
Don't get rid of the KFC
Yeah.
slash Taco
So you
Bell.
see, I was tripping
Yeah.
on the Stater Brothers one, but then like months later when I saw the Albertsons ones too on the headlines, which I'm hoping I misread it, but yeah,
where,
there's
Well, the
right now in time is important to focus.
Yeah.
where else can I get a KFC snacker and a Doritos Loco Taco after the gym, bro? You know?
Damn
Oh,
it.
Well, everybody, please do not forget, register to vote and do your part. Do some research and, do your part out there in the polls.
Follow the money. Follow the money. You'll see that my opponent is funded by outside. He's endorsed by the BIA, Building Industry Association, and he's got a ton of money that they've dropped on him. There must be a reason for that.
There always is.
Yeah, there always is.
All right. When we have one more comment coming through on the Facebook, we got Carolyn. I don't know if I could read that just yet.
Caroline Bonura, she's saying, Esther, you have earned the name the People's Mayor. We desperately need you to be reelected.
And there you go.
Thank you, Carolyn.
Did you have anything out there in the Instagram world, Luis? I saw a lot of emojis, a lot of fire.
Yeah, that's really all it's been.
Yeah.
People have just been listening.
Shout out to
more than
Placas.
anything.
I saw that comment that he dropped.
Oh,
Yeah.
shout out to
We will be
Blackas.
having him on Thursday.
Yo.
He is also part of a Chicano Park down south, and we'll be having him on Thursday, and probably get a little more info as well about what's going on with the Valderrama Chicano Park.
Yeah, that's
Connection.
cool.
That'd be great.
And
So
don't
it's gonna be
forget
interesting.
Yeah.
the Viva La Raza Fest as well this Thursday at Barrio Logan.
Thursday.
Wow, is it
Ooh.
this
This-
Thursday?
This Thursday, nope, this Saturday.
Yeah.
That was my fault. I got caught up. This Saturday, we'll go ahead and be
nice.
dropping the flyer on our stories and our page this week.
Well, any last words any of y'all want to say?
Yeah, Miss Esther, anywhere where people could find you or follow you?
EstherForMayor.com, ESTHER, the number 4, .com. Need your help, walk your neighborhood, contact your neighbors, tell them you got to vote, because we can be a completely different city come November 6th. It's very important. Right now is time for action. Right now, come and pick up a sign if you want, volunteer. We got lists, voter lists for you to, call people in your neighborhood. If you do your own neighborhood, it makes it that much easier, because you know people and they know you, and plus it's like you catch up, but it's so important. And if you are eligible to register, please register for the vote. You still can. So, and we're all gonna vote, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There y'all go. Mayor, thank you so much for your time. We
Thank you.
appreciate you.
Thank you, Louis.
All right, Bruce.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yo, you can
Bruce.
catch us around next time. Yo, thank you for sipping up with us. Stay for toking up with us. Stay for kicking it.
Peace.